From Interior Alaska's most trusted news source, this is the Fbx Evening News.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us. The last-minute crunch has begun in North Pole, just a few miles down the road. Santa and his elves are fighting the clock and the thermometer to ready themselves for tonight's delivery. NBC News' Bob Riddell is at Santa's house in North Pole with the story.
In a town this cold, where ice literally becomes too brittle to carve, where anything above zero is a welcome heat wave,
can you carry
brothers and the sisters they rely upon find warmth in the lap of the one man who has made North Pole so special.
How old are you?
Never in his eternity has Santa seen this many boys and girls drop by his house in a brutal winter like this with last-minute wish lists.
Much stronger than I've ever seen it here at the North Pole. They want imagination. They want something to believe in.
What's powering Santa's ability to deliver that kind of magic is raring to go out back.
They're so excited. If you've gone out and see them, you're going to see how excited they are.
So excited they can hardly stand straight. The clumsy one's Cupid, Comet's in the back, Donner, he's the one eyeballing us, so is Prancer. The one in the front with his head in the bowl, that's Blitzen, that's Vixen. The slow one exiting right, Prancer, Dasher, clearly not living up to his name. And this is handler Rebecca Jones, the last person they hear from before Santa takes the reins.
I do try and tell them, you know, mind the rules, let's behave, work together as a team. Nobody give Rudolph any hard time.
In North Pole, Alaska, Bob Riddell for NBC News.
And the North American Defense Command is tracking Santa again this year. He was seen taking off today on his worldwide trip to drop off gifts at homes across the world. The program began on December 24th, 1955, when a Sears store ran an ad in a Colorado newspaper which told children that they could telephone Santa Claus and included a number for them to call. However, the telephone number printed was incorrect, and calls instead went to the Continental Air Defense Command Center. Colonel Shoup, who was on duty that night, told his staff to give all children that called a current location for Santa Claus, and the tradition has continued since then. Today, NORAD relies on volunteers to make the program possible. An Alaskan business is getting into the spirit of the holidays once again. Kaladi Brothers Coffee announced they will donate 100% of their profits from sales on New Year's Day to charity. Baristas will work for just tips on the day, all in an effort to raise between $25,000 to $30,000 for Children's Lunchbox. That's a charity which provides meals for hungry children. The Kaladi brothers will team with Shell Alaska to reach the goal, with Shell pledging to match all donations. A 39-year-old Delta Junction man is under arrest after state troopers arrested him while breaking up a large marijuana growing operation on Friday. 2 properties were raided by drug enforcement investigators, which produced more than 140 marijuana plants. Troopers served 2 search warrants, including the property of Ian Miller. Miller's residence produced 82 plants. A second residence produced 60 marijuana plants. And as we head into the new year, we begin tonight looking back on some of the top stories of 2012 and another year of talk surrounding a natural gas pipeline. Now, in late June, officials with the Alaska Gas Line Development Corporation were back in the Fairbanks area to discuss the progress of the Alaska standalone gas pipeline. Dan Foskey, president of AGDC, which oversees the project, led a discussion on the progress of ASAP and the importance of developing an in-state gas pipeline to provide natural gas to Alaska communities. Foskey says the project will ensure long-term, stable supplies of natural gas to Alaska communities. The Alaska Standalone Gas Pipeline, or ASAP, is an in-state gas pipeline designed to provide a long-term, stable supply of natural gas from the North Slope to Fairbanks and the Cook Inlet areas. Foskey says the need to get going on the project, especially where Fairbanks is concerned, can no longer be delayed with just talk. Okay, when we come back tonight, only 6 days left until 2013. Before that, we continue our recount of the top stories of 2012. Stay there. Our broadcast returns in a moment.
This edition of the Fbx Evening News is brought to you by Northland Hearing Services. Better hearing with a human touch. Fairbanks Memorial Hospital, community owned. And by American Tire and Auto, your total car care solution.
And welcome back. Continuing our look back at 2012, in a landmark decision, the Supreme Court of the United States ruled to uphold President Barack Obama's Affordable Health Care Act. The controversial legislation divided much of the nation, including Alaska's own congressional delegation. Our report now from back in June. In a 5-4 ruling by the Supreme Court, the Affordable Health Care Act, commonly known as Obamacare, was upheld, but not without a more clear definition of what the individual mandate stipulation means. In his remarks, Chief Justice John Roberts said the mandate was not constitutional under the Commerce Clause, but could be upheld if levied as a tax. Either way, Alaska's congressional delegation was quick to respond to today's ruling.
There are many reasons why Alaskans did not like this bill, whether it's because of the federal mandate forcing every American to purchase a service, over $500 billion in cuts to the already anemic Medicare program, the higher taxes on individuals, families, and small businesses throughout America, or the onerous new IRS reporting requirements for millions of Americans. I stand ready to work with anyone who wants to replace this law with something smarter, leaner, and more responsive to Alaskans.
Alaska's lone congressman, Don Young, didn't mince his words regarding the ruling.
I thought all along they would take and make the mandate unconstitutional because that is under the Commerce Clause, and they found that unconstitutional, so they throw that out. But then they say if you don't participate in the federal health program, you can be fined, and they found the fine a tax. And yet there's no penalty if you don't pay the tax, so I don't know what that means. If you want to repeal the Obamacare bill and the 42 new 100 laws that came from the Obamacare bill, you get rid of Obama.
Senator Mark Begich, a Democrat, applauded the ruling, saying that 30,000 Alaskans are now newly eligible for expanded health care coverage. He also added, quote, "It's time to move past the politics and come together to make the law work for Alaskans," end quote. That is something that Governor Sean Parnell says they have begun reviewing the decision to determine how other provisions, like the mandated state Medicaid expansion, have been affected. Parnell says he is concerned the ruling boils down to the single largest tax increase in American history. In other yearly review news of 2012, after siding with state prosecutors, a Fairbanks Superior Court judge sentenced 27-year-old Sean Jeffers to 60 years in jail for shooting a 20-year-old North Pole man to death 2.5 years ago. News Center 11's Daryl Lewis has more.
Thanks. Authorities say Sean Jeffers carried a burning desire to be respected and little tolerance for disrespect. It was that mentality, among other things, in March of 2010 that brought him in contact with 20-year-old Brian Richardson outside of Ivory Jack's restaurant. When all was said and done, Richardson would be dead and Jeffers would be well on his way to spending the better part of the rest of his life behind bars.
Brian has 2 nephews that he will never meet, nor will he be able to have a family of his own.
Family members and friends of the murder victim outraged, still grieving, and pointing their frustrations squarely in the direction of Sean Jeffers.
It breaks my heart to see that in no way have you owned up and manned up to what you actually did to him and everybody else that day.
State attorneys detailed a man with a long history of emotional and drug abuse issues, struggling to be respected and seeking to keep it by any means necessary. Assistant District Attorney Scott Mattern says that meant carrying a gun during his encounter with Richardson and showing little remorse after the shooting had taken place.
Did say that he didn't mean to kill him, only wanted to hurt him, put him in the hospital.
Then he made a movement that I got nervous and I pulled the gun out and I shot into the car. I didn't aim, I didn't know where I was shooting. And I didn't mean to kill him, I'll tell you that much.
But you did shoot in the car?
I did shoot in the car.
Okay, and you fired the shot that killed Brian?
Yes.
Defense attorney Jason Gazewood asked for leniency in sentencing, but Judge Randy Olson lined out a number of happenings involving Jeffers ever since he has been in jail. Jeffers gave reason for pursuing Richardson and another man, all centered around allegations they broke into Jeffers' home and stole his marijuana. Now, while Jeffers will serve 60 years in jail, an alleged co-defendant, David Falmer, had murder charges against him dismissed. He's currently serving time on a felony assault conviction tied to the case. For News Center 11, I'm Daryl Lewis.
Joe Cook joins me now, and I don't know about you, Joe, but the only holiday activity I plan on doing is getting up from the dinner table and moving to the couch. But I'm sure there are people out there who play little sports, right?
Oh, yeah. During the holidays, you know, we had some high school holiday hoops action going on in the interior over the weekend. We'll see which teams got off the schneid and who regrouped after some recent losses. That's coming up next in sports.
Brought to you by the Law Office of Rita T. Alley. Peace of mind through professional legal services.
Hello, Interior Alaska. Joe Cook here for you in the sports seat on Christmas Eve. As you can see, we're getting into the holiday spirit. I'm working for Santa this year, and I'm giving you the gift of a holiday weekend recap. One gift that was more earned than given was a victory in the win column for the North Pole Patriots. On Friday night, the Patriots, with a then 0-2 record, faced the Owlson Ravens, who were also winless. It was a close game throughout as both teams played with tremendous effort and hustle to get a win. It was just 19-18 at halftime in favor of the Patriots. Javante Kincaid, he led the Ravens with 6 points at halftime. He finished with the game-high 12 points. Tyler Hill, he had 7 points at the half for the Patriots, and he finished with 9. The third quarter was huge as both teams went on runs and momentum swings. Kyle White, a freshman for Owlson, his bucket tied it at 26 all in the third, and the Ravens had a 1-point lead going into the fourth. Then Raymond Tamsey, he got hot from deep, hitting back-to-back threes. He had 11 points, leading an 8-0 run to give the Patriots a 34-27 lead. The Ravens had to play without Javante Kincaid, who fouled out with about 6 minutes left in the game. Matt Tallman, he hit 3 of his 9 points late to give the Ravens a chance as they battled back. It was 44-47 with about 3 seconds to go. And then senior Anthony Gibson, he would close out the game for the charity stripe for North Pole. The Patriots win their first game of the year, 49-44. Lance Wright returning from an ankle injury for the Patriots. His presence and play gave his team a boost.
It's good to have him. Brought a spark to the ball game, to everything. He's been working hard rehabbing his ankle and what have you, and just having that presence on the floor. Athleting it up on the floor tonight, and that was a lot of fun to watch.
Well, it's not 100%. I still, I just wanted to play, and I'm not a good shooter, so I was just doing what I can to help, get a win. It feels good. Basketball is not really my sport, but North Pole's my school, and we do what we can to help.
The run in the third quarter, Tamsey hitting the threes. They talked about it at halftime. We all talked about it at halftime of playing like a family, and that's what they went and did the second half. So they stepped it up and decided to play like a family tonight, and that was great.
And on the girls' side of things, the Patriots girls squad, they were looking to bounce back from a game that got out of hand, a 67-27 loss to the Soldotna Stars. But all the Patriots, they were back in this game after getting banged up a bit in that one. The Ravens, led by Teresa McCoy, who came in averaging about 20 points per game, but the Patriots made her a non-factor early and made the Ravens struggle mightily to score. The scoring came from North Pole's Erica Croxton. She had 7 of the Patriots' first 9 points. North Pole was up 9-0 going into the second. It was 18-0 before Katie Browder's 3 made it 18-3. Browder had 8 points to lead the Ravens. It was 40-10 at the end of the third quarter in favor of the Patriots. The Patriots stat line looked like the McDonald's value menu order with Erica Croxton and Josie Broderick posting double-doubles. Croxton had 14 points, 10 boards. Broderick 11 points, 10 rebounds, and 7 blocks. Willow Stewart chipped in 10 points as well. North Pole wins this one 47-17. Continuing with high school basketball, on Saturday in a non-conference game, the West Valley Wolfpack were hosts to the Wasilla Warriors. The Warriors went in a back-to-back, having lost previously to Monroe on Friday night. This game wasn't easy either. Dan Cooper got things started with the corner tray for the Warriors. Then the Wolfpack, they come right back with a quick bucket by Jacob Carson. In the second quarter, the Wolfpack trailed by 6. Then Jason Gordon, he hits a 3 to make it 25-20. 28. Gordon had 9 points for West Valley, but Dane Cooper answers with a pull-up 3. He had 17 points in the first half. And as we fast forward to the mid-third quarter, and the Wolfpack, hey, they make a run led by Charles Suddeth, who had a nice reverse layup on the baseline. And then Cookie Suddeth gets the steal and takes it coast to coast, cutting the deficit to 3, 31-34. Then after a made West Valley free throw and a missed Wasilla shot, Forrest Clark, he ties it at 34, all on his jumper. But Dane Cooper and the Warriors had an answer for every move the Wolfpack made. His jumper put the Warriors back up. Cooper dropped a game-high 24 points, and the Warriors hold off, then pull away from the Wolfpack and win 58-45. Cooper talked about redeeming himself after the Monroe loss.
I had a bad night last night. I had to come out today and just play better and just work on everything I had to work on. It really helps us know what we can do within the offense and where we can be in February and March for state tournament. Yeah.
And that will do it for this holiday edition of KTVF Sports. Thanks for rocking with me on Christmas Eve. Over the holidays, while you're sipping on some eggnog or whatever you like, log on to YouTube and catch up on the KTVF 11 Sports highlights on our YouTube channel, or simply go to webcenter11.com. And even during the holidays, stay cool, Alaska. Mike Schultz has your full weather forecast coming up next. We'll catch you next time.
Well, you guys didn't believe me last week, but the temperature is rising as we speak.
Wow, yeah, it's
really?
nice.
Yeah.
It's nice. I've noticed.
In fact, the temperature tomorrow could be right at around 0 for the high, and in the teens by this weekend.
Oh, nice. Wow. Yeah,
that's a nice Christmas present.
That's
a nice Christmas present from Mother Nature.
Cool.
Here's what the temperatures normally look like this time of year. Our normal high right around 4 above, the normal low 14 below, the record high 42 in 1985, down to 54 below in 1961. Sunrise this morning was at 11 o'clock. Exactly, and sunset this afternoon, 2:44, giving us 3 hours, 44 minutes of daylight, a loss of 1 second from yesterday. Here's why we're warmer, getting warmer today. On the satellite picture, you can see we have a lot of moisture coming up from the south. That's helping to bring warmer temperatures and cloud cover, and they're getting a lot of snow down to the south of the Alaska Range. In fact, Anchorage could see like 3 to 5 inches of snow by tomorrow afternoon. Looks like the Alaska Range is going to block out most of the snow from us getting in here. We might see some Wednesday possibly. Now, as far as what's going on across the rest of the state, you can see we're looking at nice weather across the southeastern sections. 30 degrees at Ketchikan, a little snow around Kodiak Island. Nice weather along the Aleutian Chain, not too bad up and down the western half of the state. Barrow, 1 degree above 0, not too bad. And Fort Yukon warming up already 11 degrees below 0 for their high. Lower 48 weather, lots to talk about tonight. First of all, we have a lot of rain and thunderstorms moving across the southwestern portions of the country and the Central Plains. The big news is this storm system that's getting its act together here is expected to bring snow all the way down as far south as Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas tomorrow. And then more thunderstorms bringing tornadoes from Houston all the way across to Pensacola, Florida. And you can see a lot of energy moving across the Great Lakes. Now, this Christmas Day forecast is calling for severe weather across the Deep South, a snowstorm across parts of Arkansas and Oklahoma, and more rain moving across the Pacific Northwest. And the overall outlook for later on this week for the lower 48, Arctic cold that was over us is going to move on over the Central Plains, snow over the Northeast, and more rain, but skies clearing over the West Coast. Well, back to Alaska for tomorrow. Looking in the northern sections, blowing snow in Barrow, snow developing in Nome, and partly cloudy skies at Fort Yukon. Fort Yukon at 10 below, also Barrow 10 below, and Nome 11 degrees above. And as far as the interior, mostly clear skies in Fairbanks, 1 degree, and increasing clouds for Denali Park with 4 degrees. Over the southeastern sections, again, scattered snow showers for Juneau with about 23 for their high, and 34 at Ketchikan with sunshine becoming more prominent in the afternoon. Over the southwest part of the state, looking at rain and snow at Cold Bay, and 36 degrees for Cold Bay, 35 at Kodiak with a few clouds, also a few clouds at Bethel, and 5 degrees. Here's where all the weather's going to be. Anchorage, Homer, and Valdez all looking at snow. Some of it could be heavy at times, especially around the Valdez area, and a blizzard warning in effect for the Thompson Pass area. So a lot of weather going on. No kids' weather for a couple of weeks, but we do have a weather fact for you. In 1989, 57 cities reported record lows for this date over the south, central, and eastern sections of the country. That's some pretty chilly weather. And again, thanks to Mount McKinley Bank, and the kids will be back with us with North Pole Elementary, our guest on the week of January 9th. Okay, here's your forecast for Christmas Eve. Looking at a little bit of fog still hanging around, otherwise 18 degrees below zero, but temperatures warming through the night. Not too bad. Tomorrow's forecast, looking at 2 above with cloudy skies and much warmer temperatures, and the extended forecast, very encouraging here. As you can see, temperatures all rising. In fact, daytime highs will be in the teens above by this coming weekend. Not too bad for a nice gift from Mother Nature. Overnight lows also rising to the teens below zero, which is a darn sight better than the 40 and 45 below we've been looking at for, it seems like, forever.
Now, is that considered normal weather for this time of year? Because we've been so below normal for a while.
The normal high is 4 above, the normal low 14 below. So
we're normal.
Right about where we should be. Okay. We are normal.
Yeah, not bad.
Hard to believe we're normal.
Just in time for Christmas as well.
Yeah.
Above temperatures, what a gift.
Yeah, and we're all in the season.
Yeah.
We're all in the feeling.
We're all festive.
That's right, very festive.
That's right. All right, guys, if I don't get a chance before, Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas to you, and Merry Christmas to all of our viewers out there. Yeah.
That will wrap up this edition of the Christmas Eve edition of our broadcast. Thank you for joining us.
The News Center will be celebrating Christmas Day with our friends and family, so we will not have a newscast for you tomorrow.
But remember, we will return on Wednesday for the latest in local, state, and national news, starting off with J.R. Lewis and the Fairbanks Morning News at 6:30.
From all of us here at the News Center, have a good night. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and be safe.
Good night.